Oh yeah, sexy biscuits. Nice.
Long Boys Blues, 1975. YouTubers on the rise. Reviewing games late at night and sometimes friends. But Long Boys Blues, 1975.
Hey YouTube, Long Boys Post 1975, and welcome to another nostalgic memories of video. I don't know why I find that so difficult to get out in one sort of breath, but hey, never mind. You've read the title. It's been a while since I've done one of these, and I really do like doing these videos. I find them very enjoyable, probably because I do like waxing poetic about anything that's nostalgic to me. But you might be looking at that title and thinking, really nostalgic memories about DVD, or in this case nostalgic memories of my first DVD player. I think it's weird, I guess, because it's digital, digital format discs in various forms. Anything new, they've been knocking around for decades, but it's digital, it's got lasers involved, it's a disc, stuff like that. It was such a big step up from VHS. People still kind of consider it modern, I guess, but if you stop to think about it, DVD's been knocking around since, are you ready? It was invented in 1995. What was it? 4.5 gig one side, 8 point something double-sided or stuff like that, which was a massive amount of memory then. Still is, really. Yeah, I understand that it's been superseded, but I'm jumping ahead of myself. Yeah, it's still considered new, newish, and yeah, it's been knocking around. I first remember seeing it in the high street, players and a couple of discs, like big Hollywood titles in 1998. So in my experience, and my first one I bought is 1999. So my first player I bought 20 years ago, 2 decades ago, I had my first DVD player, and the game was much different then than it is now, which is why this is an interesting topic, nostalgia-wise, comparing it from then to it is now. But yeah, invented in 1995 is a replacement for the crumbly, very, very old and antiquated VHS, cassette video player. Obviously, the VHS long since killed off Betamax, but VHS was still a big deal, in the mid and to late 90s, I guess, and to some degree the very early, not going to say noughties, 2000s, where, before the mainstream people jumped over, which was thanks to a specific game console. I think you know what I'm talking about, PlayStation 2. But, and it was such, and this is why it was a big deal, and why I had to have one, even though when they were incredibly expensive when they first came out. But such a big deal, the storage, the picture quality, we think it's crap now. What is it, 480? These are all just guesses. That's a ballpark figure, I'm pretty sure. But compared to VHS, it was a massive leap in quality. The potential that it offered, bonus features, deleted scenes, audio commentary, that was one alone that, sold me. No rewinding, instant access to various scenes, and above all, if you took care of it, although some early just start to rot, but on the main part, if you took care of it, you wouldn't have to worry about your, the format or your discs wearing out like VHS did. I mean, I wore 2 original copies of Back to the Future out. Now, am, forever will be, a massive movie fan. So I had a, substantial VHS collection. And I had a really, then, shit-hot video player. I played NTSC, so I could bring tapes back from North America. Had 6 heads or something. It was super VHS, so it was better picture quality if you used the right tapes than your normal sort of VHS player. And yeah, and I had a massive library of VHS, and I was perfectly happy with that. So I heard the rumours of this new format, which is, better picture quality, and as I said, and being a massive film buff, all these extra features, again, audio commentary alone, deleted scenes, you got some special features, didn't you, on, VHS, like little, maybe if you were lucky, a 15-minute interview, like, on the he who does not have a chin anymore. Lucas, Star Wars, I got there in the end, on the various remastered versions of Star Wars. When the first remastered one came out, and they hinted towards there being a new Star Wars movie in the work, these came out in 1995, mind, there were little 15-minute interviews on each of the, Star Wars, Empire, and Jedi, Lucas, and we thought that was amazing. So when we kind of heard about DVD and that we could have more than that, maybe half an hour, maybe a 2-hour commentary, all kinds of bonus features, it was an absolutely massive deal. Now, obviously, disc-based media, films is nothing new. You had Laserdisc was knocking around since the early 70s, which was obviously analog, which technically makes it better quality when it comes to pausing it than DVD. But we're not talking about Laserdisc, although I still would absolutely love one. And then VCD kicked in 1987, didn't it? And thanks to various consoles like the CDI and stuff like that, and then MPEG cards and things like that, and Saturns and PlayStations and 3DOs, they started to release movies on VCD. VCD had always been a format in Asia because the humidity in the environment in many of the countries was so detrimental to VHS tapes. So disc-based, less damage, things wouldn't literally rot away. So they always had VCD. But in this country, it never took off in this country. I don't think even DVD really killed it in Asia, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, in this country, it was only until the release of CDI and Philips had CDI branded movies. I had some back in the day. You think of the Asian VCD, I will get back to DVD, Asian VCDs being crap quality, quite pixelated and stuff like that. And they are, and they're still official. These CDI ones were fantastic. They were better than VHS. So, disc stuff in instant selection and things like that, not special features, movie split into two parts, obviously. It wasn't anything new, so, it wasn't necessarily the fact that it was movies on a disc that excited us. It was the size of the disc and, what they provided and the oomph in picture quality, which now we think is kind of not that much. And also, you could pause it, perfectly pause it. Well, not as well as Laserdisc, but stuff like that. And that wouldn't damage, a tape like VHS. So I had to have this formats. Now, it's funny because if you're not old like me, and that's why you're probably thinking, why are you waxing poetic about DVDs being nostalgic? You go into supermarkets now, you can buy portable DVD players with their own screen for like £25. That would have blown my mind in 1998. It really would have blown my mind. And obviously you can buy standard DVDs that upscale to 1080 now for like literally £20-30. And obviously the price of Blu-rays come flying down because that was massively expensive when it first came out. But people forget that, and I had to have this format because I love and loved movies. When it came out, you were looking like for pretty much an entry-level standalone DVD player, which obviously would be running on RGB. There was no HDMI back then, not until the consoles in the early mid 2000s. So RGB was the best route to go for you could connect them up through VHS connections as well on DVD players. But that would be the best way to go. But yeah, entry-level DVD player was 200 quid. That's a lot of money. And the DVDs, the basic DVDs, where they said they had special features, but they were literally scene selection, menu screen. That's not special features. I guess it is compared to a VHS tape, but that's not special features. That's called operating the fucking disc. But they started at $12.99. They were expensive. It's not like it is now. Walk into cash converters, walk into charity shops. Cash converters don't stock regular DVDs anymore. Charity shops kind of keep the numbers down. They're like 50p, 25p. Buying Simpsons box sets for 75p. Again, when they first came out, they were huge money. But I thought, there's a workaround for this. Even I, being in full-time employment, reasonably well off, I thought, but obviously I've got bills and running a car and stuff. I'm not dropping 200 notes on a DVD player. As much as I want this new format, there has to be a cheaper workaround. And at the time, I had my first PC. I think it was a Pentium 200 MMX. I remember when it came out, the magazine said, "At last, a PC that's fast enough to defend the Earth from aliens." Yep. And I had a regular CD drive in it, and I had a CD burner in it, and I had a video card, even though I didn't have a DVD player, that could play VCDs or something, just because my mate had a spare one and he gave it to me. And so I had that in there, and so I looked around, and the cheapest DVD player I could buy, because this was what a lot of people did, the entryway to cheaper DVD movie experiences back then was get one for your PC. So I did. I found a Pioneer 6-speed DVD player, like a Wii one, where you stick the disc in and it goes in. Not a tray. I thought that was futuristic at the time. I found one in Maplin's, of all places. Rest in peace, Maplin's. I will forever miss thee. Electrical store, wholesale electrical store to anyone else outside the United Kingdom. And it was, what was it, 90 quid, I think. And it came with no DVD movie, because it was for a computer. It came with a copy of Blade Runner, the point and click game, which is an absolutely fantastic game, which I found in a charity shop the other day and bought, and then had to do a little bit of doohickeyage to my laptop to get to work, mainly because of my nostalgia for it from this DVD player. And then what happened was, because my mum used to give us like 50 quid for Christmas, I paid, like the 40 quid, she paid 50 quid towards it, and I got it for Christmas. And because I knew that obviously I need a disc, then I got one of my, I think it was my gran, to buy The Matrix. Oh, no, this is 1998. So to buy me Lethal Weapon 4. I know that one of the first DVDs I had was loaded with special features, deleted scenes, things like that. So I had to see it. And yeah, I got that for Christmas. So I remember Christmas morning that year, getting up, getting this DVD player, and then installing it. That's a very Christmas Day thing to do, isn't it? Taking apart your PC tower, installing a DVD player, hooking up your video card and stuff like that, and then connecting it from the back of the card into my TV, because I know a monitor's higher definition, but I did not want to watch it on my monitor. I wanted to watch it on my TV. I wanted it to be my DVD player, and that was it. That was my affordable way into DVD. DVD player, and also the benefits it had to my PC. So I mean, you could argue it was only £110 cheaper than an entry level one, but it allowed me, because obviously games on DVD and stuff like that, it was far more beneficial, gave me far more options than buying a standalone DVD player by having it in my computer. And then I fired up Lethal Weapon, like, oh my god, I can go scene to scene, this is fantastic, this is amazing, pause. The bit where Mel Gibson headbutts Jet Li, all those number of times, just pause, screen dump, screensaver. Fantastic. The deleted scenes, the interviews, and that, it was a double-sided disc. Not double-layered, double-sided. They were a bit crap, especially when they split the movie over both sides. Because at this point still, only certain premium titles, and you would pay more, came out with all these special features. So this was it. I'm like, I can, and I didn't, I don't think I ever bought a VHS tape again from that point, from day one. 1998, my first DVD player, never went back to VHS. Sold off all my VHS tapes, while they were still, you could sell them to places like Cash Converters. Got ripped off, and then slowly start piecing together my favourite movies on DVD. And then the problem with that was, it was a slog with stuff like Back to the Future. I didn't sell that on VHS, actually, because that you wouldn't get some of these releases until like the early and mid 2000s, not saying noughties. So it was, as much as you wanted to embrace it, Lucas didn't release Star Wars trilogy on DVD, because he wasn't going to release it until he finished the prequel trilogy, but it was such a backlash from fans. He didn't release that to 2005. That was unheard of. So you all these movies, Indiana Jones was like around about then as well. You had to wait. It was a big deal that these older catalogues of movies were coming over to DVD, so you wanted to experience them. You knew that it was Star Wars and Indiana Jones. You would get amazing special features, and you did. But you had to wait, and it was an absolute killer. But almost any new movie that got released in the cinemas would come straight out on DVD, and it revolutionised the way you could buy movies and the period of time it would take from its initial cinema release to being rentable to purchasing at home. Good example being, Lethal Weapon came straight out on DVD to purchase instead of coming out. It would be 6 months after cinema, then you could rent it for 6 months to a year, and then it would come out for you to buy. It was such a way. With DVDs, and I guess to get a way to sell it to, make the brand take off, was simply out of the cinema, straight on DVD, you can buy it, special features, better picture quality, sold. And obviously it was rampant. It did take off and go through the roof. It really was, the future, we thought. And then came Blu-ray, and obviously that's being replaced, and obviously and then there'll be 8K, and at some point DVDs will be obsolete. My god, we move fast. It's scary really when you stop to think about it, hence the fact that this is a nostalgic memories of video. But yeah, the next DVD I bought was The Matrix. That was a big deal, because they really pulled the big guns out on that, and I had to have it. So many special features, taking the pills at the start of it. And it was a DVD that was so loaded, some standalone players couldn't handle it. There were lists on the internet at the time listing the players that you should buy if you wanted to be able to enjoy The Matrix, every single feature. In my computer one, my Pioneer one, it worked like an absolute bloody charm. I loved it. But so the slog of replacing these movies and stuff like that, and my collection, DVD collection, at that price though, $12.99 a pop, You know, there were no £10 DVDs then, even if they didn't have, you know, special features, began to grow and grow and grow. And it's weird because there's such, you know, they're so cheap now, almost like it's a dead-ish or soon-to-be dead-ish format, buying them for 50p. There was a point in cash converters when they were still costing you sort of £5, £7, dependent upon the title. But again, it was that made it cheap and affordable, and I absolutely loved it. It made collecting, not that it wasn't fun on the VHS, but you know, because of the special features, it made collecting really, really exciting again. Knowing that if your particular favorite movie, like when the Back to the Future box set finally came out, which was a life-changing moment for me for all the special features, knowing that your favorite movie would get that treatment was pins and needles in my foot. No, that's not what it was. It was absolutely fantastic and something really, really to look forward to. I mean, like I said, the big ones were Back to the Future, Star Wars, Indiana Jones, the original Aliens, stuff like RoboCop. And then there was the interesting thing, which is DVDs or cinematic release dates in America, North America, were ahead of the UK and Europe. It's not like it is now where we get some ahead of them, and obviously pretty much universal. It's, yeah, which I've always said, make stuff universal. It will lower piracy, but release dates were so far in advance. Sometimes 6 months after. Sometimes when it was on DVD in the States, this is the point I'm getting to. It just hit the cinemas hit. So when I started going on holiday to, you know, see my mates in Canada, I used to save up a load of money and just come back with a shitload of DVDs because I had Power DVD on my PC. So region, that was a problem. That wasn't a problem, you know, like, because even in the very early days, you couldn't hack a lot of these standalone DVD players. There was no region code. And obviously the region code was very important back then because of the fact that I could go abroad to North America and buy shit and come back with it. So I came back with so many, you know, I used to go twice a year. In like 98, 99, 2000, 2001, you know, and then obviously in 2003 I moved to Canada anyway. At which point, ironically, I had to sell off pretty much all my entire DVD collection. And that led into another problem when I was there, which I'll get to it towards the end of this video. But, yeah, so that was something else. You felt like, oh, look at me, I'm watching a movie on DVD when everyone else has seen it in the cinema. Who wants to fucking touch me? I've just seen a Terrence and Phillip movie. And then the one that really, really brought it to the masses, and obviously meant standalone DVD players would have to come down, and did come down drastically, was the release of the PlayStation 2. I mean, we take it for granted now that your machines have Blu-ray, but that was the first console to have a dedicated DVD player that you could use to play movies. It wasn't even really, I think it's what made DVDs take off in Japan. Seriously, it wasn't really a big format there. But over here, if you think about the price, £299, that was a lot, but you were prepared to pay that for a console, you know, with discs like the Dreamcast, and look good as Dreamcast, have a standalone DVD player. That was amazing. So, I mean, I got one anyway, and while I preferred it on my PC, because obviously it had surround sound set up and an amp, it made it portable, and I could take it to people's houses, and there was a disc to make it region free. So, you know, that was a massive, massive deal in, you know, like my history of DVDs. And then, as I said, when I moved to Canada for my job for years, I remember the problem there was you could play NTSC in this country really, really easy on a PAL TV, but in reverse, it was very, very, very difficult because the signal being put out on an NTSC player, I can't remember how it worked. There was PAL, unless you could work on old TVs, the vertical lines. That's how I got around it originally with a North American DVD player. It just made it black and white. It couldn't handle the image, and obviously loads of my favourite shows, because it was more about my favourite shows, sitcoms, British stuff, Only Fools and Horses, things like that, weren't available over there at that point, because DVD was still then, like, it was a big deal when Star Trek got released, you couldn't do the same thing because the signal couldn't do it on the PlayStation. And then one day I was in Target or Radio Shack, but was it? Or then was its name changed? I don't know. And they had a little DVD player, tiny little DVD player, cheap as chips, with no buttons on the front, a remote control, called the Malata 393. And I read on the side of the box, and it was $49, 49 Canadian dollars, and it said PAL to NTSC. And I thought, it can't be, not for that price. And I took it home, and I still had some UK DVDs on me from my failed experiences to get them work on the North American players, and it worked. And then I told everyone who was an expat in our office, and everyone fucking went there and wiped out the stock, I shit you not, from the store of the Malata 393, because it was predominantly British people and Australians. And what do the British and the Aussies have in common? We're both PAL territories. And then when that happened, I used to, phone my parents and my mates and just go, here's my apartment address. Here's a list of DVDs I want. Because then it was the opposite. Then 28 days later came out on DVD when it just hit the cinemas in North America. So I had the reverse, which I got my mum to send me the DVD of that. Loaded with special features. A few people in the office had modded, who were Canadian, had modded Xboxes so they could play it. And yeah, I just came in and just went, who wants to touch me? I've just seen the fucking Terrence and Phillip movie. So do you know what? I have a lot of nostalgia for DVD, from the fact that it was so expensive, waiting for your favourite titles, getting over region barriers and stuff like that, finding the workaround to make it cheap. And to the fact we've almost come to the end of its life, I guess, not immediately, and it's almost like a forgotten format. It's so cheap, and like I said, there'll soon be 8K. I just have a lot of nostalgia for, DVDs and my first DVD player. And as always, I'd love to know what you think. If you're of my age, do you feel the same? Or do you think this is completely tarded? Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you later.